I never thought my 35th birthday would unravel like a bad Western flick. But there I was, in our sprawling ranch house on the outskirts of Tucson, Arizona, surrounded by the people I thought loved me most. The sun was dipping low over the desert horizon, casting a warm glow through the big picture windows, turning the red rock canyons outside into a painter's dream. Inside, the air smelled of mesquite grilled steaks and fresh tortillas. My husband, Jake, had gone all out, hiring a local caterer to make it feel like a real Southwestern feast. Laughter bounced off the adobe walls as we sat around the heavy oak table, plates piled high with food that screamed home and heart. Jake squeezed my hand under the table, his calloused fingers rough from years of managing our cattle operation. He was the picture of the rugged cowboy I'd fallen for, tall, broad-shouldered, with that easy smile that could charm a rattlesnake. "To Sarah," he said, standing up and raising his glass of deep red Cabernet, the kind we splurged on from a Napa vineyard. His voice boomed like thunder over the saguaro plains. "My incredible wife, who's tougher than any bronco I've ridden and sweeter than prickly pear jelly. You've made these last 10 years the best ride of my life. Happy birthday, darling." His parents, Hank and Dolores, beamed from across the table, clinking their glasses. My sister-in-law, Rebecca, Jake's sharp-tongued younger sibling, who ran a boutique in downtown Tucson, gave a tight smile, her eyes flicking to me with that familiar mix of envy and something sharper I could never quite pin down. Tears pricked my eyes as everyone toasted. It felt perfect, like one of those Hallmark moments set against the Wild West backdrop we'd built our life on. I lifted my glass, the wine swirling like blood in the sunset light, ready to sip. That's when she appeared, a young waitress from the catering crew, her dark hair tied back, moving quietly with a tray of green chili appetizers. Her name tag read Mia. She leaned in to set the dish down, and in a blink, her cool fingers pressed a folded napkin into my palm. It was so subtle, like a ghost's touch. I almost dropped it. Mia didn't meet my eyes. She just straightened and slipped away, her face drained of color, fear etched in every line. My heart stuttered. What the hell? Maybe it was a tip slip or a mistake. While Jake launched into a story about our honeymoon horseback ride through the Grand Canyon, I unfolded the napkin under the table. The scrawl was hasty. In black Sharpie, "Don't drink that." 3 words that hit like a gut punch from a bucking bull. The room spun for a second. The chatter faded. The scent of food turned sour. Poison? Prank? My mind raced. We were all drinking from the same bottle, right? But Jake had poured mine separately, with a flourish, calling it my special birthday vintage. I glanced around. Hank and Dolores were chuckling. Jake was animated, arms waving. Rebecca watched me, her smile not quite reaching her eyes, like she was in on some inside joke. Panic clawed at my throat. Mia's terrified face flashed in my mind. She looked ready to bolt into the desert night. No time to think. Instinct took over, the kind honed from years of spotting coyotes in the brush. I forced a grin, raising my glass again. "Hold up, y'all," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "One more toast to this family, for sticking together through thick and thin, dust storms and all." They murmured agreement, glasses lifting. In that clink of crystal, I swapped mine with Rebecca's, quick as a lizard's tongue, hidden in the motion. No one noticed. I pretended to sip from her glass, heart hammering like a stampede. The next few minutes dragged like a wagon through sand. Rebecca took a hearty swig from what had been my glass, laughing at Jake's punchline. She started bragging about her latest store expansion, voice full of that city slicker pride. Then it hit. Her words slurred mid-sentence. Her eyes widened, then dulled. The glass slipped from her hand, wine spilling like a crimson river across the tablecloth. She slumped forward, head thudding against the wood. Chaos erupted. Dolores screamed. Hank jumped up, knocking over his chair. Jake froze for a beat, then snapped into action, yelling for someone to call 911. That morning had started like a dream. I'd woken to the smell of coffee and huevos rancheros, sunlight streaming over our king-sized bed with its Navajo blanket. Jake stood there with a tray, a wildflower bouquet from our land tucked beside the plates. "Happy birthday, cowgirl," he grinned, leaning in for a kiss that tasted like forever. We ate in bed, giggling as salsa dripped on the sheets. He surprised me with a turquoise necklace, handcrafted by a local artisan, expensive, but he waved off my protest. Nothing but the best for my queen of the range. Then came the bigger gift, a custom satellite eyed at the rodeo fair months back. He remembered everything. Always did. But even then, a shadow lurked. Around noon, checking our joint ranch account on my phone, I spotted a hefty withdrawal, unexplained. We'd agreed to discuss big spends, especially with cattle prices fluctuating. I found Jake in his office, on a call about feed suppliers. When he hung up, I asked gently, "Hey, babe, saw that transfer. What's it for?" He didn't look up from his ledger. "Don't fret your pretty head over it, Sarah. Just some business wrangling. You focus on enjoying your day." His tone was affectionate, but it stung like I was just the little woman, not his partner in this life we'd built. I let it slide, didn't want to spoil the party. Rebecca called later, her voice honeyed but edged. "Happy birthday. Cease. Jake's pulling out all the stops." "Huh? Lucky you." We chatted briefly, but her digs about my simple ranch life left a bitter taste. As evening fell, I slipped into the new sundress Jake bought, the turquoise necklace gleaming. In the mirror, I looked content, a woman with a loving husband, a thriving spread, but a knot twisted in my gut, unnamed, like storm clouds gathering over the mountains. Jake hugged me from behind. "You look stunning, darling. Ready for the night of your life?" I nodded, pushing the feeling down. Little did I know, he meant it literally. The paramedics arrived fast, small town perks. They checked Rebecca, muttering about low pulse, possible overdose. Jake stayed calm, explaining she had episodes from stress, a family condition. Bullshit, I thought. But his story held water with the locals. As they loaded her into the ambulance, I clutched the tainted glass in my bag, evidence I wouldn't let go. Mia had vanished into the kitchen shadows. At the hospital, the sterile lights buzzed like angry bees. We waited, tension thick as dust. The doc confirmed, sedative in her system. High dose. Police were notified, standard for suspected poisoning in Arizona law. Jake played the concerned brother perfectly, but his grip on my shoulder felt like a vice, not comfort. The Tucson Medical Center's waiting room felt like a pressure cooker, the fluorescent lights humming overhead while the scent of bleach hung heavy. Hank paced, his boots scuffing the linoleum. Dolores wept into a tissue, murmuring prayers in Spanish from her New Mexico roots. Jake was the rock, calm, coordinating with nurses, his phone buzzing with updates. But when our eyes met, a chill ran down my spine. That loving gaze held something predatory now, like a mountain lion sizing up prey. I sat apart, the napkin and glass hidden in my purse, My mind replaying the switch. The note wasn't a prank, it was a lifeline. Why me? Why poison? Flashes of our life together surfaced. Jake's late nights, balancing books, his secretive calls. The way he'd snap if I questioned expenses. We'd built the ranch from scratch after inheriting a small plot from his folks, cattle drives, monsoon floods, the works. But lately, money felt tight, though he swore we were fine. The doctor emerged.
Face grave.
Family of Rebecca Hayes? We nodded. She's in a coma, stable. But the tox screen shows a massive dose of benzodiazepine. Could be accidental. But we've reported it to the authorities per state protocol. Jake nodded solemnly. She's been under pressure with her business. Maybe she took too many pills. The lie slipped out smooth as silk. The doc bought it, suggesting we wait for tests. As we drove home in silence, Jake's truck rumbling over dirt roads. His hand on my knee felt possessive, not tender. Rough night.
Ha!
We'll get through this. I mumbled agreement, but inside.
Alarm bells rang.
Back at the ranch, stars blanketing the sky. I couldn't sleep. I slipped out to the porch, the cool desert air biting. Who was Mia? Why risk everything? I needed answers. Next morning, coffee in hand, I drove into town while Jake handled chores. The catering company was a small outfit in a strip mall, Southwest Flavors. The owner, a burly guy named Raoul, remembered the gig.
Mia?
Good kid. But she quit yesterday. Said family emergency. Hightailed it out of here. Cops already asked, gave Em her file. But the address is old. Phone's dead.
Dead end.
But her disappearance screamed truth. Desperate, I headed to the sheriff's office. Detective Morales, a no-nonsense Latina with a badge that meant business in these parts, took my statement. A note? Switched glasses? That's quite a tale. Mrs. Hayes. Skepticism dripped from her words. Arizona law required investigation for poisonings, but without proof. It was my word against.
What?
I handed over the glass for testing, but she warned results took time. Home felt like enemy territory. Jake greeted me with a hug, but his eyes searched mine. Where you been, darlin'?
Evans, I lied.
That night, after he dozed off, I crept to his den, a room lined with rodeo trophies and ledgers. His laptop password was our wedding date, romantic.
Once.
Files looked normal. Ranch invoices. Emails. Then a hidden folder. Admin. Password? His old horse's name. Dusty. Inside, bank statements from a secret account. Drained dry. Debts piled high, loans for failed investments in oil rigs. Gambling slips from Vegas trips he called business. We weren't thriving. We were sinking.
Fast.
The last file, a life insurance policy on me. $1.5 million. Beneficiary Jake. Double indemnity for accidents. Taken out 6 months back. Right after our banner year turned sour. My hands shook. This wasn't love, it was a payout plan.
The wine?
A tragic overdose at a party clean. No foul play suspected in a small town where folks trusted their own. I printed it all. The machines were like a confession. Confrontation couldn't wait. I stormed into our bedroom, flipping the light. Jake bolted up. Sarah? What in tarnation? I flung the papers at him. Explain this. He scanned, face hardening. At first, the charm. Honey, this is just protection. Every rancher has policies, droughts, accidents. But I pressed. The debts?
Jake.
We're broke. And this payout? You poured my wine special. The mask cracked. He stood, towering. You snooped? After all I've done? Rage twisted his features.
Yeah.
We're in deep, bad deals. But I was fixin' it. You think I'd hurt you, but his grip on my arm bruised. Tell anyone, and I'll say you're unhinged. Jealous of Rebecca's success. Who'd believe the crazy wife over the upstandin' rancher? He shoved me. I hit the bed frame. Fear blooming. This was the man I'd vowed to love? As he stormed out, my phone buzzed, an unknown number. I know the truth. Saw him spike the drink. Meet me, Mia. Hope flickered in the dark. We met at a dusty trailhead in Saguaro National Park. Cacti standing sentinel under the noon sun. Mia looked haunted. Younger up close. Maybe 22. My folks lost everything when Jake backed out of a deal years ago. Our family farm went under. Dad drank himself to death. I recognized him at the party. Overheard his call in the alley. Once she drinks. Problem solved. Looks like an OD. She played a shaky recording. Jake's voice. Cold. It'll be over quick. Insurance covers accidents.
Proof.
Solid as the red rocks around us. Arizona's strict laws on attempted murder meant this could stick, if believed. With Mia's recording burning a hole in my phone, I drove straight to Detective Morales. No appointment, just marched in, demanding she listen. In her cramped office, amid wanted posters and coffee stains, I played it. Her eyes widened. This changes things. Attempted poisoning? We'll test that glass pronto. Under Arizona statutes, this was felony assault, potentially murder if intent proved. She advised caution. Don't confront him alone. We'll wire you for a confession. Back home, I played the remorseful wife. Jake. I'm sorry, stress got to me. He bought it, pulling me close. We'll fix this, darling. But his embrace felt like chains. Rebecca lingered in coma. Docs said she might wake. But damage unknown. Guilt gnawed. I'd saved myself, but doomed her to this limbo. The setup, dinner with his folks. Wired under my shirt. The ranch house smelled of chili and cornbread. Tension simmering. Hank and Dolores fretted over Rebecca. Jake poured wine. Mine from the same bottle this time. But the symbolism chilled me. Conversation flowed uneasy. Then I stood. A toast to truth. I hit play on the speaker. Jake's voice echoed. Once she drinks. Color fled his face. What the? Hank gasped. Dolores cried. Jake.
No.
He lunged for the phone. But I stepped back. It's over. The door burst. Morales and deputies swarmed. Jacob Hayes. You're under arrest for attempted murder and fraud. Cuffs clicked. He sagged.
Defeated.
But here's where it turned humane. In interrogation.
Per Morales.
Jake broke. Debts from Badland deals had crushed him. Pride kept him silent. I couldn't lose the ranch, our home. But I panicked. Thought insurance was the out. Never meant for Rebecca. Remorse flooded his confession. He pleaded guilty, avoiding trial. Rebecca woke weeks later, foggy but alive. Therapy helped. She forgave slowly, bonding with me over shared betrayal. Jake got 10 years, Arizona's mandatory for poisoning attempts, but with good behavior.
Parole possible.
In prison letters, he apologized, seeking counseling. The trial was a media circus in Tucson. Local rancher turned poisoner made headlines from Phoenix to Albuquerque. I testified. Voice steady. Detailing the note. Switch. Discoveries.
Mia corroborated.
Her recording sealing it. Jake's lawyer argued desperation. Not malice. debts from drought-hit cattle sales, failed ventures. But evidence mounted. Lab confirmed sedative in the glass residue, matching pills from his truck. Sentencing day. Courtroom packed with ranch folk in boots and hats. Judge Ramirez, a stern veteran of border disputes. Wade in, mister.
Hayes.
Greed poison your soul before any drink. But remorse counts.
10 years. Plus restitution.
Jake met my eyes.
Tears in his.
Sarah.
I'm sorry.
I lost my way. Post-trial. The ranch felt empty yet free. I took over operations, hired hands, diversified into ecotourism with trail rides. Hank and Dolores helped, guilt-ridden but supportive. Rebecca moved in temporarily. Our talks by the fire pit healed wounds. He was always the golden boy, she admitted. But we enabled it. Mia became a friend. I helped her start a food truck. Southwestern Fusion. Her bravery taught me vigilance. Jake's letters arrived monthly. Reflections on pride. Therapy insights. Prison's my reckoning. Learned communication beats secrets. I visited once. Glass between us. Why? I asked. Feared losing you to failure. We cried. No divorce yet. Forgiveness brewed slow. Life bloomed anew. I joined a women's group for survivors, sharing stories under starry skies. The lesson? Trust your gut in the vast West. Secrets fester like hidden canyons. But truth lights the path. Communication mends what pride breaks. Months turned to seasons. Monsoon rains revived the desert, mirroring my renewal. The ranch thrived, cattle sales up.
Tour booked solide.
Rebecca opened a second boutique, crediting our bond.
Six.
That switch saved us both, from his web. Jake paroled after 5 years, reformed via programs. He returned humbly, working odd jobs in town. We met at a neutral cafe. Sarah. No excuses, I broke us. Conversations led to counseling. We rebuilt as friends, co-managing the ranch platonically.
No romance.
But respect. The humane twist. Jake volunteered at crisis centers, speaking on death's dangers. One bad choice snowballs, talk it out. His story prevented others' falls. Mia married. Her truck a hit. We gathered yearly, toasting survival. In the end, betrayal forged strength. The West's harsh beauty reminded, storms pass, revealing clearer horizons. Lesson light but profound. In families, like herds, straying lone leads to peril. Stick together, speak truths, and grace redeems.